Get ready, get set, and hold on! It's time for the Mouth of Matuszak show, and it's going to be one heck of a ride. Welcome to this wonderful Monday morning. Monday, September 29th. Just a couple more days left in the month, folks. Beginning of a great new week, though. Time to roll up those sleeves, get some good coffee in you, start digging in deep, start front-loading as much of that work for the week as you can. Get as much done today, tomorrow, and hump day on Wednesday. Make Thursday your coasting day. Start tying up those loose ends. Finish up tying up those loose ends on Friday. And then enjoy the weekend along with the fruits of those labors, that pursuit of happiness. So yes, folks, it's a day to be excited because you're going to work, getting all that stuff done that allows you to do the things you like to do later, which is always an exciting prospect. Anyway, welcome to Monday morning. I am your host, Paul-Gregory Matuszak, here with the show named after me, the Mouth of Matuszak Show, where you get to listen to my loud mouth, along with other things, from now and the better part of the next hour. Speaking of listening to other things, of course, what would a good week be without kicking it off with some Powdered Zombies, with a little bit of Chris Lash and Steve Crowder singing Mr. America to get your week off to a great start. So, here they are, folks.
Mr. America, look what you've done.
Yeah, looking at the country is not what I intended. Gotta start to make a change before the never-ending story of a failed nation runs straight out of luck. Like $1 million Tyler Perry movies, you suck. All your little have life is still selfish and want more voting in your self-interest now instead of the core principles that made this country both honest and true. Free to speak, worship, pursuit of your happiness too. With all the money you fly, you gon' be needing a big freeze. Hate the size of the Fed like Jesus hated the fig tree. As the spending goes up, you gotta borrow some more. Borrowing from the Chinese like, oh my lord. Instead you just tax more, you're increasing the size of the federal government. Yeah, the Georgia surprise, you'll be done like Detroit. Man, no, you ain't coming back. Forget it, I'm out, I'm muzzle loading my
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. I got tired of rolling over in my grave every day, making a monarchy of my beloved US of A. You little glitches need reminding of what we were before, and the sits that led us up to revolutionary war. High taxes to the throne without a voice of our own. Rule top down from the crime we wanted left alone. Oh, y'all so soft, you're taking it year after year. We were fighting red coats while we're brewing our beer. Now I'm drinking, spitting ciphers through a grill made of wood. That's how it all went down in G-Dub's neighborhood. Packing cabin balls like powder hammers with cock, lock, click, clack. The loss of backs like the attack. The chicken littles who don't know me, listen, don't let it twist. We kick the A's of the B's for much less than this. So don't deny the historical climbing out of the mud. Follow me, believe the creed, plant the seeds and be free. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again.
On the woman at 85 when it's really at 12. Hear me, classes in session, you can't be safe by the bell. What happens when you keep printing more dough? Both parties have gone green like their name was Al Gore. Yeah, but right now you're high. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my knickers. What knickers? No, it's okay. I can say knickers because I wear knickers. Man, you think I say that? What's wrong with you? I'm just talking about my show back in and I rock with my shoe. But let's go back to the first point I was trying to make. The degradation of our freedoms and our country at stake. The government's getting grand while private sector grows smaller. Pour one out for your homies, cause here comes the cold water. Unemployment still rising, our debt's growing still. The only change you're gonna get is being left with the bill.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. Mr. America, whoa, whoa. Mr. America, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. It's time to pick those pieces up. Be great again. Yep. First, we need to know what those pieces are that need to be picked up, which means we need to be aware. It means that the era of the underinformed or uninformed voter running this country are quickly coming to an end. More and more people are getting informed and making more informed decisions. Of course, right along with that, because you have certain outlets out there that call themselves news outlets that are a little bit more biased than strictly objective. You have people that pay attention only to the ones that are primarily on their political alignment, so to speak. In other words, you have people that, well, first of all, you have the people that just watch the mainstream media out there, and of course, most of the mainstream media leans left. Even Fox, although they have news commentators that tend to lean right, and certain entertainment shows that are news commentary and cultural commentary, political commentary, like the Hannity Show, which is a great show, don't get me wrong, and The Five and others that are similar. Although you have those shows, the news itself, because a lot of it does come from AP writers. Nothing against AP writers per se, but there's a good number of them that were indoctrinated in liberalism when they were going to J school and journalism school, that is. So they tend to write with a little bit of a left-wing bias when they do their news, thinking that they're being objective, and they're being slightly towards the left. For example, when you read an AP article that it's supposed to be just the facts that Fox picks up, a lot of times you'll still see the words undocumented immigrant. How can they be undocumented if their home country has a birth certificate on them? That's not undocumented. It's an illegal entrant into our country. But we're not just debating that issue. I'm just using that as one of those little PC examples, and the PC things that they use to not get in trouble with the public and offend people when they're trying to write unbiased news are still biased terms, and that's the whole point behind it. So your mainstream media, even the one that is labeled as being extreme right-wing, which is, of course, Fox, is not. They still lean a little bit to the left of where conservatives, by and large, reside. So the day and age of the uninformed voter is going away because people are more and more going towards alternative news sources, but those alternative news sources are ones that are still aligned with them, with those people as far as their political ideology. And it's on both sides of the aisle. You have people on the right side who lean towards reading from like Town Hall, Daily Caller, and Breitbart. And then you have people on the left who stick with Mother Jones and HuffPo and Washington Post, New York Times, online, etc., etc. And then you have the people that are, extremely out there. Well, Mother Jones is extreme left-wing, so it's like Burnt Orange Report is extreme left-wing. And then you go to extreme right-wing, and, well, I don't even know if I'd call them right-wing. I just call them out in space, out to lunch. But you have Alex Jones and InfoWars, on that side. I mean, they wear tinfoil hats and are 9/11 truthers and everything to top it off. So, not entirely a big fan of the Alex Jones set. But if you like it and that's where your outlet is, hey, That's why they're there. Again, that's why there's chocolate, vanilla, rum raisin, and butter pecan. And a whole bunch of other flavors of ice cream out there, so you can choose which one you want. But by and large now, you still do have people who are a little bit more awake and will read stuff that's written by both sides of the aisle and make up their own minds. And that's the information revolution that we're looking at today, folks, is by and large people are able to look and read and filter out the bias and go to just the facts and make up their own minds based on it, which is a great and wonderful thing. So we have that, and that helps us to identify the pieces that need to be picked up and put back together again to get this great nation, this great federation of individual independent states known as the United States of America back on track, back on the path that our founding fathers envisioned for us, which is, the freedoms that we all embrace and love, that we are, through our own actions or inactions, allowing to be slowly chipped away, and have allowed to be slowly chipped away and eroded away over the past several decades. And now people are starting to wake up and saying, hey, it's gone a little bit too far. I agree, a little bit of this is good, but now it's gone past the little bit of good into a lot of bad, especially with like regulations and executive overstepping. So, with that in mind, it's 37 or so days away. Of course, I'm talking about Election Day for the midterm elections, November 4th. So now is the time, people. You need to put in a little bit of extra time and dig in and do a little bit of research on your candidates. And look at the people on both sides of the aisle, because sometimes you'll see somebody who may not be in your party, whose ideology is a lot more aligned with yours than some person who claims to be within your party. You see that popping up a little bit by little bit, depending on where you look, especially on the local races. There's a couple of Democratic Party members in the area that I live that when I look at their voting records and what they've stood for and stood up against and stood up and promoted, I wonder how the heck they're in the Democratic Party and even getting elected within them, because they are so opposite on most things from the Democratic Party line on the federal, national level, that is, that they don't seem like they belong in that party. Maybe they're just there because that's where they know they can get elected, because that's what the majority of the people in their district will automatically vote without really looking at histories and stuff. Like there's one person, I'm not going to mention names, there's one person, female, happens to be darker complected, who I have referred to as being the most Tea Party affiliated member of the Democratic Party in history, even more so than maybe JFK, who JFK arguably did not really belong within the Democratic Party. There's a lot of things he stood for that made members of his party cringe. And now we have this one individual in my local area that is kind of the same way. You're wondering how she could be a member of the Democratic Party, because her very outspoken ideology does not line up with the Democratic Party. It sounds more like things that you would hear at a Tea Party rally. And it's great because people from both sides of the aisle will get behind her, because of what she stands for in her ideology, and less of the how well she toes a party line that's out there that people are towing, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. She stands up for what she thinks is right, and happens to be a little bit more right-leaning than her fellow Democratic Party members. In fact, she's a lot more right-leaning, doesn't realize it, but she is a lot more right-leaning than people like so-called blue dog Democrats like Henry Cuellar, who is not all that blue dog, and she makes him look like an extreme progressive. And compared to other progressives, he's not that extreme, but he is far enough left-leaning that I still wouldn't call him blue dog anyway. But that's enough on that little talk this morning. We all want to know about what's going on in the world, don't we? Not just what's going on in my little neck. Of course, sometimes I do like to talk some local things here. So I do want to talk about one thing of interest, and this is something for people across the nation to kind of pay a little attention to, because public opinion can sway local decisions. When it doesn't, there tends to be a little bit of an overturn of who's in charge of the political parties within municipalities and county level politics. It can even go can even transfer up higher towards the state level stuff, state level offices. But here in the city of San Antonio, they did a poll. Now the city has come out and started talking about, especially with the new plans, they're looking at the 2020 plan and now the 2040 plan for city plans for basically the way they want the city to work and the way they want it to operate. They want traffic to flow primarily. And there's some announcement to increase bicycle lanes and increase mass transit capabilities and public transportation and blah, 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 blah. Well, they did a poll with the citizens, and the citizens are saying no. 91% of San Antonio area citizens do not want their tax money going towards anything mass transit or towards so-called green transportation, like bicycle lanes and stuff like that. Okay, bicycle lanes are kind of cool idea, especially if you can take part of the sidewalk and dedicate it to bicycles, so that pedestrians don't get run over by somebody on two wheels. At the same time, you keep the bikes out of the road so the bicyclists don't get smushed by something with four wheels or even with two wheels and an engine. But and in certain areas it would be great. I mean, some people just can't afford cars and they prefer to ride a bicycle, and they should have some kind of a freedom to do so. But should that freedom infringe upon the freedom of the car drivers, the automobile riders? And the answer, by and large, in San Antonio is no. Same with public transportation. No, expansions to public transportation. Not that people are necessarily against expanding public transportation. They're just against using tax revenues, taxpayer-funded expansions of mass transit, public transportation. So what this poll has said is 91% of the citizens want money from vehicle registration taxes, gasoline taxes, etc. All the taxes that are taken for specified for transportation. They state that they need to remain being used directly for transportation and not things other than. And they do not need the rates increased at all, but they need to be used only for transportation. And by transportation, they mean roads, things for cars, not pedestrians, not bicycles, not building light rail systems, not building more trains or trolleys or monorails or any of those things. Used for improving the roads for cars, period. And not even toll roads. They don't even want those. They think that car drivers are taxed enough already. And that's 91%. And that's a very right-wing stance. So seen as a very left-leaning city, San Antonio, especially when you look at their previous mayor, when you have 91% with a very right-wing libertarian mindset of, hey, we agreed to pay these taxes as they are to be used for these specified things. You're doing it the wrong way. We're paying for this, so use that to improve the roads, and that's what it's supposed to be for, period. That's a rather right-wing stance, especially when they're sitting there saying, don't you dare increase the rates either. So, kind of interesting on the local front. And I'm sure similar things would kind of come to the forefront if you looked at other cities throughout the U.S., including ones that are rather left-leaning. They'd probably sit back and say, hey, wait a minute, you're using our vehicle taxes and gas taxes for what? For to build another failing public school and sink a whole bunch of money into overpaying teachers who are sitting there and acting like babysitters and disciplinarians, which does happen